my printer's still going because it's. I forgot to get all the comments that I could respond to. That's already sitting waiting for me. Let's do that. Oh, that's it. That. Oh yes. Oh yes. We are getting there, I do promise. We have the small tincture. It's very warm, very warm. Thank you very much. 1, 2. Let's get stuck in. Right, thank you very much. You can calm down. Oh, blimey, another page. Okay. Welcome to the midweek sermon. Welcome to the body of the kirk, to all the regulars. And if you're a newbie to the church this evening, let us know in the chat so I can give you. God, blimey, how many pages are these? So I can give you a mention as a first timer. Let me pop your cherry this evening, said a vicar once. Mrs. Andy Turner's in first tonight, said evening all. Yeah, wrong uns. Let me get that right. Evening all on the bank holiday. Hang on a second. Cindy and Sandy. Oh, Cindy and Sandy, are you first timers? Good evening, Adrian, ghetto defendant. Am I late for confession? Always, ghetto defendant, always. Bovril is in the church this evening. It's the local town crier. How very dare you? Oh, Bovril, how very dare you? Rambo, I like Adrian. Yeah, wrong one. To Mr. Jollop. Oh, he's broken his phone again, folks. No, I was just getting something a little warmer. Otherwise, it would have been very bright and white, but cold. My nipples would have stuck out tonight. It's so bloomin' cold, I could have keyed next door's car. Oh, yes, it is right. So, Andy Turner says, I'm just checking, Andy, because it is Wednesday. Evening all on the bank holiday. Sorry, on the bank. Should have gone to Specsavers. Ready for a debate. Don't make too much noise. Need to catch tonight. Have you been on the cooking sherry, Andy? Yes, we do love plenty in the church, so we can have a mass debate this evening. Please do remember the community guidelines. No sexually explicit language or narratives permitted. Yeah, wrong. No excessive profanity, so you can foxtrot Oscar before you start. And that kind of content is strictly prohibited. Yeah, take your heat elsewhere. Andrew James, have been good boy, Mr. Turner? ? Oh, I say. Yes, I think the moderator is kind of adding things. So, yes, thank you very much. P.T. Ham, good to see you back in the church, P.T. Ham. Evening, Adrian. Yeah, wrong. And we're up to 100 viewers already. Thank you very much for that. So, if you could kindly wipe your feet on the way in and smash the likes, that would help immensely. Especially the church cleaner who has to come in after you and mop down the pews. Yeah, utter wrong. Cliff Wilson, evening wrong-uns, remember no hate. Else, Poilies Alba will come a knocking. Oh, the Polis Alba, Scottish Alba. Well, do you know, we're fine here. Why? Because, well, they call it cyber-enabled crime. It's not a crime, really. That's not the law. No, they're just kind of marking down who's a bit of a swearing Mary or not, or who says the wrong thing or not, or who says the wrong thing and somebody else gets reported about that wrong thing in your own home, and then they go and talk to the police. We'll be talking about that tonight. What's his name? Hamming Youssef? Yes, quite. We'll deal with that idiot later. With a smile, of course. Otherwise, they'll think it's hate speech. Andrew James. Oh, yes, so that's what I was going to say. We're in England and any other country except Scotland. So if there's anybody in Scotland tonight, say hello, but don't say much else. Otherwise, you could get us all into a lot of trouble. Although we are in England and elsewhere and around the planet. So especially Lynn in New Zealand, bless. Otherwise, she could get into a lot of trouble just by being in New Zealand. Oh, who's that? Kaz987. Oh, hello, Kaz. It's been a while. You've been hiding. To Fern, evening, everyone. Say hello to Fern, everyone. I think Fern might be are you a newbie, Fern and Kaz987? I'm sure not. Neptune Gamer, Bristol should now report Sturgeon for the hate she piled on him. Bristol should find. As in Johnny Bristol, hanging in there, baby. Only those that know. Cliff Wilson, thank you, Andrew James. To Cliff Wilson, you should send a bad tweet in Berwick and then jump back over into Scotland. It's the one loophole, I suppose. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Because, Humming Yusuf says, you're all white. You're all white. Yeah, well, everybody's white. That's because 95.4% of Scotland is this colour. Bit more ginge, but this colour. So he's having a go at the Scots for being Scottish. I mean, he's a Weege. Have you tried to understand a Weege? The Glaswegians. They've got a better accent in Edinburgh. Is this hate speech? No, it's not. No, it's not. So all the comedians are going to stop at Adrian's wall now. They daren't go and start and do any comedic routines. In Scotland, I mean, like, comedy in the Weege, it's brilliant. I love the Weege because it's beautiful. It is genuinely. Some of the structures in Glasgow. I mean, you're not going to be able to say getty, which is a Glasgow expression. Getty. You don't know what that means. Get the foxtrot. Get to foxtrot means go away. You're rather annoying, and I might just break your nose, you tart. No, kind of roughly translated from Scottish to English. Same as puyuch. No, that's the wrong one. Touchdown bobsleigh. Well, there's the thing. You see, I don't know whether you know ball bags in Scotland. Now, I've been called an English, caring, understanding 90s type many a time in Scotland by some people that I consider close friends. Laughed me cap off. Laughed me cap off. But now I could go up the police and I could report them. Hate. It's hating the English. I mean, they've got a saying in Scotland, anyone but England. Abe. That's a hate crime, according to Humming Yusuf. Stupid man. Stupid. As long as the day is long. Stupid man. We'll get to him. We've got better things to talk about before we get to him. Cliff Wilson, that's why the Lord invented VPNs. Very good, Cliff. Very good. Andrew James. Viv Kenyon. Oh, hello, Viv and Darlow. How is one? Evening, Adrian. Yeah, wrong'uns. We're all waiting in the pews. More juicy updates coming, I hope. Juicy is good. Don't be having a go. It's your mind, not mine. Andrew James. So, Hugh Edwards, a rump, not juicy enough for you, Viv. That's very funny. Now, be kind. Be kind. He's in hospital on nearly £1 million of my money. We'll talk about that in just a little while. Keep smashing the likes, you wrong'uns. I'm keeping an eye on you. PT Ham, evening, Adrian, you wrong'un and all. Do you remember Pete Price from Liverpool? I do, PT Ham. If you know Pete, tell him I'm trying to get in contact with him. Tried his agent's telephone number the other day, rang out, but then again it was a sad day for Pete, and I understand that he might not have wanted to talk to anybody, including me. Barrel saying good evening, everyone. Viv Kenyon. Enough, deaf or not, rather stick pins in my eyes. Oh, Viv, bless you. PT Ham. Michael Ball doing love songs. We're going to get to that in a minute as well. I was going to do a separate Steve Wright video today. Do you want me to save it for that? Because I do have an opinion or 10, as as is my norm. Stuart, evening, Adrian. You're Rowan. Towel Block Tracy's back on the cooking show, no doubt. I have been drinking. Oh dear Lord, Towel Block Tracy's been drinking since midday. Be careful, everyone. Andrew James, my DJ friend, helped me pack my stuff and move. I told him he's a sound guy. You know, you can get chucked out of church, Andrew. I think there's something in the air. I think there is either something in the air or something in the water. The Bovril, I've eaten my Easter bunny. She was really tasty. Napoleon blown apart from other side of their water. Hello and good evening to you all. Is there any wine left for the congregation? No, I think Tower Block Tracy and the Bovril have necked it all. I could use a sip or three. Oof. Napoleon blown apart. I am feeling your pain, sir. I am feeling your pain. Andrew James. Oh, yeah. Oh, Samurai Cock's back in the church, back in the body of the kirk. Samurai Cock, welcome. Hello, Adrian from Dublin. I love Dublin, and yes, the Guinness does taste different in Dublin. It also turns your poop black. Just telling you, TMI, but just telling you. I'm sure you'll agree, Samurai Cock. Oh, the hibiscus has stewed just enough. Mr. John, hello, Adrian. Yeah, Ryan. I just got back in time from a wonderful Chinese meal. I'm now sat comfortably waiting for the fire and brimstone sermon to begin. Oh, it's going to tonight. It's definitely going to. Andrew James, I hope Double A. That one's for Tower Block Tracy. I hope Double A has had his dinner. If so, what did you have? I had a rather lovely salmon steak and teriyaki and some wonderful concoction. It was rather spiffing, to be fair, with the usual accoutrement, and it was wolfed. It didn't touch the sides. It was wolfed. And it was just wonderful. Don't forget, if you're a newbie, please say hello in the chat so we can all say hello to you. Nikki Watson, evening, yeah, wrong'uns. Hope all is well. I will tell you, and I'm not talking out of school, obviously, but somebody said to me, hey, Adrian, what's that don't forget the Battenberg thing? Do you want to tell them or should I? I'm sure they'll be on the live tonight. Dale Steele, I think they were testing the law if Scotland is to fine-tune it for the rest of the UK. No flies on you, Dale, is there? No. I'm with you, completely with you. But the Scots, honestly, they're going to kick off. You can't, in my expert opinion, because I lived and worked in Scotland for 10 years. Lived with a Scots girl for quite a while. I'm not telling you any of that. God blimey, could end up with her in jail, certainly. And the Scots, look, they're straight up and down. They're as a race, as a nation, they are. Is that me being racist? I've got to be careful. Got to be careful. But they're a race. They're a race of people that I absolutely love. I love. Do you know why? Because they had my back and I had theirs at all times. They were just fabulous. I worked with amazing people. And they won't stand for this. They've got their own sayings and stuff that oh, hang on a second. I better finish these off, and then I will get into that. Amalia, is it Grazie or Grazi? Hello all. I'll be listening in whilst getting my dinner ready. Hope you're all well. Thank you, Amalia. That is very beautiful of you. Thank you very much. So the Scots, the nation, the race, they are fabulous people. But if you brass them off, they'll absolutely do you in. They don't stand for anything. No mucking about. No, they don't kind of stand over the garden fence and go, "Oh, I say." They just, do you fancy another beer? I'll give you an example. So I'm in a pub in a place called Musselburgh, and I go in there with my girlfriend, and I go in there with the girlfriend's older brother, and the older brother was a Nino. He was a part of the Thin Blue Line. And I went in there to watch England play in the World Cup. It's ram-packed full of Scotland who want to see anyone but England win. So I'm there, just go, yeah! Honestly, every time an England player touched the ball, yeah! And every time that England kind of scored, yeah! And then when the opposition got hold of the ball, the whole pub went up. So it got to a point where I sort of felt like I needed to get a bit lively with these people. So it got a bit lively. The sort of semi-brother-in-law said, Adrian, I think we need to leave. I was like, well, I'm enjoying the game. He's like, you don't understand. They'll literally take you outside and lynch you. Oh, brilliant. Oh, brilliant. Are we going to have a dance? He's like, I'm not getting involved in this. So anyway, kind of the local hard man, he came over and he said, are you sure you want to do this? And I was like, look, I'm just enjoying myself. Look, I know we're going to get spanked and we're going to get beat. I just want to enjoy myself. Do you fancy a beer? What are you buying? Well, yeah, I've just asked you if you want a beer. Well, what would you like? Oh, I'll have a mates for life. The minute you buy a Scotsman or Scotswoman, you can buy her 3 more than a Scotsman. But if you buy anybody from Scotland a beer, you're friends for life. So after that kind of really lively night in the local pub in Musselburgh, quite salubrious is the word, I think. Every time I went in there, they were like, oh, watch out, here's the Englishman. And we were just mates. That's it. It's just, they're fabulous. But if you're a politician and you stick it to any Scots people at all, in any way, shape or form, you better watch out. So this idiot who thinks he's got power when actually there's somebody above him telling him what to do. If you think he's got power, forget it. Because and I'll use a Scots word. A Scots word is guddle. There you go. There's your education for this evening. Guddle or gaddle. It means a mess. And it literally, this new law is a mess. It is a guddle. It's a shitstorm waiting to happen. And seemingly, Humming Youssef has had 4,000 reports to Police Scotland. Day one, 4,000 reports for his, they're all white, the judiciary, they're all white. So the First Minister of your party, she was white. Does that qualify? But she was a woman, so does she get a little box tick? I mean, it's just utterly ridiculous. But see, I never trust a lawyer or a barrister. Trust none of them. Not a single one of them. They're involved in law, and I can't wait until AI sufficiently puts them all on the dole. Penniless, on the dole, Foxtrot Oscar. Oh, was me emotion getting the better of me there? Wonder why that is. Anyway, what they do in law school when they're breeding this shite. So when they're breeding this in law school, they teach them, all of them, it's better to have a moral vacuum, because if there's a moral vacuum, you make more money. So these cretins are always trying to manufacture a moral vacuum. So if you look at this law, and look, if you want me to do it on a live, I'm happy to pick it apart. It's woolly, it's grey. The language that they use in this particular hate law, it's sufficiently woolly so that the lawyers and the barristers can make money from it, because that's the whole objective. It's a money-making exercise. Don't believe that they're doing it for the good of the country. They're not doing it for the good of this sceptred isle. They're not doing it for the good of anybody apart from their own back pocket. I mean, wasn't Jimmy Cranky a lawyer of sorts? Wasn't the fat-tongued idiot that was in there before her, wasn't he a lawyer of some kind? GB Patriot. No flies on you tonight, GB Patriot. Adrian, the new law won't work if you say things outside of Scotland. Why do you think I'm saying them? I'm safe. Hallelujah. I'm safe. That was definitely Sex Pistols. Do you know, you've got me straight into this, and I just wanted to ease my way in tonight. I just wanted to, because I still have no clue as to how I did nearly 2 hours on Sunday night with no notes. I have none. Well, I have. Mrs. Allen will testify for that. Hitler only had one. If you can't see my lips move, I never said it. The overall hello from us Sassenachs down to... Wait, hang on, have we got a sweaty in? Andrew James, the closest I've gotten to Scotland is listening to Runrig and watching the Highlander. Runrig. Now, there's a band for you. Great band. I could tell you loads of stories from... right, Hayden makes a very, very interesting point. Which one do I go for first? Hayden says... Labour backed the new Scottish law, so what happens when they win the election? Try and bring something like this in the UK? Oh, you bet your sweet bippy, Hayden. Now, do you know, I had this all set out for tonight, and as is your wont, you're just trying to get me riled, I think, and you just want me to... Why is the other in the Albert Hall? Oh, Amalia, grassy, as in grassy snake. Got it. Thank you. GB Patriot. In that case, the SNP can Foxtrot Oscar to their mobile home. Well, it's parked outside Jimmy Cranky's house. I mean, there's actually a man that finds Jimmy Cranky attractive. Now, let me see if I can... I know something, and I'm desperately trying to work out if I can get it past the lawyers. Are you sitting there? Are you making notes? Good. Can I say that Jimmy Cranky was a swinger? No, I can't say that. Right, I won't then. Did you ever meet Delamitri, double A? I might have done. I was told what double A stands for earlier today, and literally every time you say double A, Andrew, I'm laughing my cap off inside my head. I can't tell you what it is, because it will get us thrown off YouTube, but honestly, it's the funniest thing. Anal aid. Tablock Tracy. Oh, you've all definitely been on the cooking sherry tonight. Tablock Tracy says there's also a man who finds Sherry Blair attractive. Oh, honestly, stop leading me on, because you know I'll say something that's going to get me into trouble. So there is a man that finds Sherry Blair attractive. He also finds men attractive in certain London parks. Are you listening to what I'm doing here? Well, tell me if I can or I can't. Can I? You haven't mentioned me, Adrian? Good. Didn't name anybody. Adam, yeah, you got it. Charles Linton. So I was going to. I had a running order and everything, and now it's all going to rat poo poo. So I wanted to talk about. I want to do something really deep. Deep's good, so I'm told. I'm going to do something deep, and I have a. We're going to talk about. Well, we're not necessarily going to talk about. We're actually going to tell you the truth. There's going to be bombs, truth bombs, hoid everywhere tonight. We're going to talk about what's happening in Ukraine, what's happening in America, kind of geopolitical, but it affects me and you, and possibly your kids or your grandkids. We're just going to do all that. And Keir Starmer, is he scaring you yet? Is he? And he's not. How very dare you? Very dare. Angela Rayner. Oh, come on, Angela. Cough. Oh, your mouth's full. You can't. That'll be why you're not paying the taxes then. So, Napoleon blown apart cottaging? I think it was more than that. What do George Michael and the Wellington boot have in common? They both get sucked off in bogs. You can't see my lips move. I never said it. Napoleon blown apart. You're just encouraging me to be naughty. I can see we've got the level this evening. So, next live. The next live is next Sunday, 7th of April. 7th of April. It's an important one. We are going to talk about it tonight because you know that on April the 8th we're all going to die, don't you? You know that America have declared all these states of emergency in America. And they're calling these states of emergency for no apparent reason. Oh, Monday, 8th of April, we're all going to die. Which is why I'm happy. You know, I've got 5 days to live. At least I didn't take the jibber jabber. So I want to do something deep. So Sunday, 8 o'clock, 7th of April. And there's a solar eclipse going to happen on April the 8th. But the thing is, it's going the wrong way. It's going sort of Southwest America over to Northeast America. How does that work then? So the sun's going to be moving in the wrong direction. Anyway, newbie, say hello in the chat, please, so we can say hello back. Smash the likes. There's 170 odd of you. And I want to go deep to start. And as the Reverend Adrian Allen, and my midweek sermon this evening is, God says no. I asked God to take away my habit. And God said, no. It's not for me to take away, but for you to give it up. I asked God to grant me patience. God said, no, patience is a byproduct of tribulations, because God talks like that. When he gets angry, he talks like that. No, patience is a byproduct of tribulations. It isn't granted, it is learned. So I said, all right, God, can you give me happiness, please? And God said, no, I give you blessings. Happiness is up to you. I can hear Ken Dodd in my head now. I asked God to spare me pain, and God said, no. Suffering draws you apart from worldly cares and brings you closer to me. They do that in Rome. Now, I asked God to make my spirit grow. Oh, is that what you call it, Adrian? God says, no, you must grow on your own, but I will prune you to make you fruitful. I asked God for all things that I might enjoy life. And God said, no, I will give you life so that you may enjoy all things. I asked God to help me love others as much as he loves me. And God says, ha ha ha, now you've got the idea, you wrong'un. God talks like that. Well, he does to me. Why is it when they say talking to God is praying and God talking to you is paranoid schizophrenia? We're going to get into Rich Boy because I think he's done for. I think we're watching a political assassination. I love it. I do. I love it. I love it. Because why? Infosys is like this cancer that's all over. Hang on a second. Who's that? Hello, Nicholas. Adrian, did you get on with Metro Night Owls, Alan Robson? Yep, you bet your sweet bibby. We've played cricket against each other, and Alan's a great bloke. Like a fabulous man. He's very funny. And much maligned. And I do believe that his kind of broadcasting in the Northeast is going to be very much missed. Very much. I remember, look, kind of James Wells started, and then Alan Bezic came across from the Northwest to do Metro and did it only for maybe 9 months to a year. He was lauded. I didn't quite like it. He went back to the Northwest. Some other people took over, and then Alan Robson, the flashing blade. He was doing the Hot and Heavy Express on a Saturday night, which I used to listen to. And I remember one of the Hot and Heavy Expresses did the whole War of the Worlds album, did like an interview with Jeff Wayne and did the whole thing. And it was just mind blowing. like radio like you've never heard before. Imagine Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds being played on the radio back then. You'd never heard anything like it. Wonderful. And then the Flashing Blade. He took over Night Owls. It was always been Night Owls from James Whale onwards with the same theme tune. But Alan made it his own. Nicholas, he was shafted. Yeah, I agree with you. They should have just left him. Because I've said this before, and I don't know whether you've caught this, and we will get into Rich Boy being bent over, kind of. The way commercial radio used to work, the legacy, the heritage commercial radio stations all over the UK, they would have your breakfast show, which was your engine room, and you get as big a penis on the page as it was once called by Myers. You get as many people listening at breakfast so that it sustains all the way through to drive, and then you get a smaller penis on the page, but you still get a lift. But you could sell that to advertisers, but every single night, Monday to Sunday, you'd normally have a phone in, because it's your reach and your average hours, and you mix them together, that's your audience. So what the sales team in commercial radios used to go out and sell was your reach, how many people used to listen to the radio station, and then your average hours, which is how long they would listen to. The average breakfast show listenership is about 18 minutes to a maximum of 30, because most people live within a commute of 30 minutes. But if you add 3 hours listened to daily, and you've got, if you've got a listenership that's listening to you maybe an hour a day, so 7 or 8 average hours per week, that is a very good average hours. But you stick a phone in at the end of the day and you've got people listening for 2 to 3 hours, all of a sudden they're doing 20 hours a week. If you're selling them, say, 100,000 listeners per week, and they're listening for 20 hours a week, the advertisers know that that audience is going to hear their adverts. So that's why they buy the advertising. So that's why phone-ins were revered, and the phone-in presenter even more revered. Who's that saying that? Oh, you'll have me thinking about it all night. Fred Barker. The chances of anything coming from Mars. Could be Elon Musk. Neptune Gamer. People want a voice. I agree with you. David Gill. Alan Robson has his own YouTube channel called Night Owls. It's mint. Oh, you're definitely from the Northeast. I need to have a look at that. I know he's doing the haunted stuff. And I want to get Alan on the show. I interviewed him for a magazine that I was editor of back in the 90s. And he's a fabulous guy. Honestly, he's a fabulous guy. And it's almost what you see is what you get. He's just straight up and down. Fabulous. And I want to get him on the channel just to kind of chat through. He's got some wonderful stories. So we'll see if we can get Alan on. Obviously, it's down to him whether he wants to or he doesn't. That's why I wanted to talk to Pete Price earlier, because Pete's another guy with like millions of great stories. Tommy Boyd, Andy, yeah, we'll see if we can talk to Tommy. Most of these guys that you're mentioning know me or know of me. So I'm hoping that, Alan Robson and I, as I say, we've played cricket. Metro was just up the road. And he then had a network show. I left TFM and went to work elsewhere, and he did the network phone-in on Newcastle. He was like the whole of the Northeast. It was fabulous. Nicholas, Alan Robson interview will be brilliant. Honestly, these late night guys, and now I'm in contact with Stanage. Whoa! All these guys could literally talk for days and not draw breath. They're wonderful raconteurs. They have great stories. And those stories will be partly your story, because phone-ins are all about, knock on any door and you'll find a story. So the more we can get on the channel, the better. I do have, thank you to Retro again. We did this little video about the MV Dali, merchant vessel Dali in Baltimore last week. And the wonderful news is, I think it was like 660,000 people watched one of Retro's videos, which is wonderful, wonderful. Retro and I are going to do another one. Not telling you when, but we are. It's agreed. The contract's signed in blood. Is Retro in the house tonight? Sorry, is Retro in the church this evening? Pauline Makepeace rang Nick Abbott back in the 90s. Oh, Nick's another one. Again, an original. Took his influences from all over the place. And I worked with him at LBC. Funny guy. Funny guy. He used to ring Scotty McClue because basically he would... it was a phone-in. And I don't know whether he got this from America or where he got it from, but he would ring all the other phone-ins around the country because he was building his audience. And audience is everything. To Nicholas, mind... I hear there were some right slinks at BBC Newcastle. Nicholas, don't encourage me. I've worked at the Pink Palace a couple of times. Some stories there as well. Which one can I tell you? There was a presenter at BBC Newcastle. I mean, I could tell you the two presenters. One of them went to jail. The two presenters from BBC Leicester while I was in the East Midlands doing Century 106. And she used to get her rocks off by having sex with strangers in some wooded area while the husband watched. Genuinely, because if you just... I think if you Google BBC Leicester swingers, you'll get to it. But she used to like going having sex with randoms in a forest or in a field or something, and he used to get his rocks off whilst watching her. And she got caught because it was an underage guy that she was doing the like fandango with. So BBC Newcastle, what was the? Yes, the moderator's on me again. Right, attention, community guidelines, reminder, no sexually explicit language or narratives permitted. That's me, Buckingham. Joke. Cool. Keep up. So in, what can I say? Well, if the moderator's on me back. BBC Newcastle, what can I say? All I'll say is I won't name names. They're all, I mean, people that used to work with me are probably ducking going, oh no, he found out. Because I worked at a radio station where two of the presenters were having an affair. And how they communicated was by some computer code piece. And if they're watching this, they have no clue. 30. What's that? That was very weird. My yucca there was making a noise. Maybe it's telling me, Adrian, don't tell that one. Unless it's me mother telling me off from the other side. Yeah, so there was this couple, two presenters. One was married, one wasn't. Had halitosis. So they were doing the like fandango, and they used to communicate using this piece of computer code. So I'm not saying any more than that, but we knew everybody, all the lads knew. We laughed our cap off because they didn't know we knew. And we found one of their letters one day, which I'm sure one of the other presenters has still got in his possession. We roared with laughter. And BBC Newcastle, what can I get away with? I did tell you the story once where I was trying to, they wanted me to do a soul show for a Saturday evening. And this guy appeared from nowhere. I didn't really know him. And he said, "Oh, Adrian, come into this office. We'll have a chat." And so which school did you come from? I was like, what difference has that got to make? Well, you know, what school did you go to? What school tie do you have? I said, I had one that was choking the bejesus out of me for 5 years. Hated it. Didn't want to wear it. So we were dancing around. And I said, look, mate, I'm from the local comprehensive. I'm not one of you arty-farty university graduates. I come from the School of Hard Knocks, mate. So I'm not really interested in... So which school did your father go to? A proper wrong'un, mate. And we had this dance around. I just said, oh, honestly, I don't... This is in BBC Newcastle. This is the BBC. I said, oh, I'm not interested. So they gave it to some guy who went to a really nice posh university, but he couldn't do the show. So they had to get some grunt in to produce it and tell him what to play and how to play it and when to play it. And I said, you could have got me at half the price. You're paying for two when you should have had one, and I was the better presenter. I had more knowledge. The guy, school tie, university. Here I say, one go to Oxbridge. No, he didn't. Foxtrot Oscar. Probably won't, knowing the BBC the way I do now, he'd probably want my pants down and over the desk. Didn't get it. So that was in BBC Newcastle. I could tell you other things about people having affairs, which is much more juicy. But I'll have to... Are you still listening? Are we still on air? Can I... As long as I don't mention any names? Too dangerous. Okay. Nicholas... Oh, Nicholas, I think you're psychic. Neptune Gamer was told at school in Hambley Rice that we didn't have escalators up north. Stop putting my accent. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Was I putting your accent on? I do apologise, Neptune Gear. And Andy Turner, Caesar the Geezer. Yeah, Caesar the Boogeyman. Yeah. So, phone-ins, wonderful. The best fun you can have with your clothes on and presenting a phone in. Oh, you could abuse people left, right, and centre. But people came back for it. People just, I mean, the one line that got me presenting a late night phone in on the radio was James Stanage. And it's a very simple phrase. He'd been talking to this woman and she just wasn't getting it. She probably was, which is why she wasn't very coherent. But she wasn't very coherent. And she was just jibber-jabbering and she was kind of going on and on and on. And I could hear James sort of getting more and more wound up because he couldn't... Well, I just think... So anyway, he just turned round to her and said... Do you not understand what I'm saying to you, you thick tart? How can you say that? How? So I went in, because we were working at TFM at the time, and I went in the next day and went, James, how did you get away with that? Get away with what? Oh, hang on, I've got to have I did 3 hours, Adrian. Come on, give us a clue. I said, you called somebody a thick tart. He said, that's because she was. But how did you get away with it? Do you want me to tell you the reason why I got sacked from TFM in 1989? Because that might make your hair curl. This is not monetized, is it? I'll save it till later. I made page 5 of The Sun, page 5 of the Daily Mirror, the Daily Star. I think was there a Today newspaper back then? I made all the dailies. I didn't make the broadsheet, no. How on earth someone talking about, the like Fandango on the radio could ever make the broadsheets? But I made The Sun and the Mirror. Let's get into these idiots. Nicholas, hey, moderator, hey, get off the wine and make sure you've got the play button ready. And that's we didn't have bleeps on air. I know Scotty used it sometimes, and we kind of did, but we didn't. It was a delay. So you could turn around and say, hang on, who said that? Mr. Dunlop. Yes, go on, please. Tell Adrian. Well, I will, but it just, if I just talk about everybody having affairs and doing the do in radio studios, then I've prepped 2 days for this, and you just want me to tell naughty stories. Hooah. Oh, what a great word. That's a North Yorkshire word. Hooah. It's one of those things that you hoover things up with. Just to get it past the moderator. Sarah James. Something to do with the lady. Oh, Sarah, you've done your research. Yeah, a hooah. As the Wookfit said. Not war, lass. Oh, stuff it. You see all this? I've done days of prep, and all you want me to do is tell you mucky stories. Right. Are you sitting comfortably? Make sure you've got a hairnet on, because this might make your hair curl. So, I was fairly new and green to doing phone-ins. And a very, very, very dear friend called Brian Lister, who was one of the best program directors ever. He's the guy that looks after the presenters. That's why he's called program director. And he'd kind of moved me from varying shifts. I started doing the early breakfast show and did all the other stuff. And I was doing a very, very, very successful dance show all through the 80s. I was kind of one of the first guys in the UK to start playing house music and all that malarkey and Ibiza and all that. If you're into your music, you'll know Paul Oakenfold. And Paul and I go back a long way. Anyway, so I'm kind of doing all the stuff in the radio station. I'm the captain of the cricket team. I'm kind of doing all my stuff, and Brian says to me, he said, "Well, James is not around." They'd had a go with a couple of other guys, a guy called Andy Hollins and a guy called Phil White, and they didn't really want to be up till 1 o'clock in the morning presenting. And then Stuart's, "No, Mr. Moderator, I'm behaving, honest, Governor." That's funny, Stuart. I'm not. I'm probably... Look, if the screen goes black, the moderator's cut me off. So Brian had said to me, "Look, do you want to give it a go, Adrian?" When James Stanage left, I think he went back over to Manchester, at the time I said, "Oh, go on, boss, give it a go." It was like Yossi Hughes from Boys from the Black Stuff. I can do that, give it a go. And they tried me out in the August, I think it was. They did a Sunday night. And we had a full switchboard for the whole show. You couldn't get on. And Brian said, the program director said, "Look, Adrian, do you fancy having a go at the phone? And you did really well on that one-off. Do you fancy it?" So I was like, yeah, I'll give it a go. I thought, well, I'll get a pay increase, and decided to do it. Now, it was brilliant because I decided that the phone-in would be any subject at any time. No holds barred, nothing was off limits, simple as that. So any subject, any. And there was one night, I think, it was a Friday night, and I'm thinking of something else that I can't tell you on here. Somebody had been out who was married, taken this model out, and was about to give her a. Well, they were going to go upstairs and make some noise, as Prince once said. And he just popped into the studio while I was on air. I was like, yeah, having a bit chat. And so I was like having a chat on air, closing the microphone and having a chat with him. And then if the caller would say something, there's lots of stuff goes on in the background. Anyway, about 10 to midnight, my phone up through the glass goes, "Oh!" Because I'd said, I can't remember how I introduced it, but it was along the lines of, "Look, nobody ever talks about Delight Fandango on the radio. We all skirt about, we all dance about, we all don't say the appropriate language, or as it turned out, inappropriate language, and let's have an adult conversation." Anyway, some woman rang in and went, "Oh, hello, my name's Ethel. Yes, I've been on the game." Said, "What, playing chess?" No, not that kind of game. Proper game, the oldest profession in the world." "Oh, you shag for money then, do you?" "Yes, well, I used to." So we had 20 minutes on air, and there are tapes of this that did the rounds at the time. This is 1989. This is October 1989. There are tapes of this. Nobody admits to having them, but there are tapes of this particular conversation because somebody in the radio station, I will give you the detail, just time fire. Somebody in the radio station went to what we call the logging tapes. Now, like that MV Dali, that had to have data logs or black boxes on aeroplanes. For legal reasons, radio stations have to record all of their output in case somebody says something and it's against the law, or the radio authority, "Oh, come here." And somebody went to the logging tapes to get the actual, they dubbed off the conversation and then sent it to all the newspapers in London. without me knowing, because basically they wanted my show. I was doing Monday to Thursday, and then I was doing the Soul show on a Saturday. They wanted to have the phone in Monday to Thursday because they wanted to be a star, darling. They were shite, never any good. So they sent it down. So that was on the Friday. On the Saturday morning, they sent it off. Let me give you the detail, and I'll tell you the outcome. So this woman's, yes, I'm on the game. Oh, well, it certainly was. I'm retired now. I'm a little older, but I certainly made the odd shekel. And who's there? Matrix on PC. Soul Show was the best. Oh, you're very kind. Thank you. I'll take that. I'll take anything, really, so to speak. I didn't at BBC Newcastle before you start. And so I said to her, so the things that I couldn't defend. One, so let me just ask you how much you charged. Oh, sorry, how much you, charged, past tense. And she said, well, I would charge £50 for full intercourse, and I charge £25 for oral sex. And I said, 25 quid for head? You've got to be joking. That's a bloody rip-off, woman. She laughed. And so did I at the time. And then we kind of talked about, men and women that used her wares and the kind of stuff that she did. We didn't go too deeply into the kind of stuff that she did. So it got to kind of winding up the conversation. So remember, that was the beginning of the conversation. And all during the conversation, my phone up was going, Adrian, we can't handle the phones. The phones are going mad, I tell you, mad. So I was like, yeah, whatever. So at the end of the conversation, I said, look, I want to finish on a high, not a low. And trick to her meant punter. And I said to her, look, what's the most perverted trick you've ever had to perform? This is 1989. It's not 2024. It was 1989. And she says, some guy paid me £50 to watch me play with myself on a bed. And I said, is that it? That's the best you've got? And she went, well, I said, oh, get off, you're boring me now. Let's go to another call. And literally, BT were ringing the phone up saying, what is going on at the radio station? We can't handle the volume of people trying to call the radio station. We had people ringing up saying, I'm going to call my MP. That's the most disgusting thing I've ever heard in my life. I said to them, you should come and live with me. Blimey, your hair would curl after 3 minutes. And other people were like, oh, blimey, I've never heard anything like that. That was so amazing. That was like honest and raw and authentic. So I spoke to, I said there was a guy in the studio. I rang him at 1 o'clock when I finished. And I said, just letting you know, I think there may be lots of phone calls coming your way. And he said, oh, what you done? I said, are you finished? Yes, he says. Right, okay. So I told him. And he was like, oh, Adrian, what you done, man? I said, look, I was just doing an honest phoning. It's about time we kind of pushed the barriers a little bit. And then the morning after, the boss rang me up and says, right, Adrian, my office, Monday morning. I was like, oh, wait, man, boss, don't be. He's like, I've got to, Adrian, my office Monday morning. On the Sunday night, I was, as I said, captain of the cricket team. We'd had an amazing summer, just winning all these trophies and beating all these sides. And we had the annual cricketing dinner, at which I had to sit there with the managing director of Metro Group, because there was a few radio stations. And, oh, Adrian, we're going to make you a star. I said, oh, Neil, are you sure about that? He's like, oh, yes, your phoning's doing marvellously. We're going to make you a star, darling. You're going to be amazing. And I thought, oh, wait till he gets into the office tomorrow morning and goes, he said, what? Oh, he said, how much did you charge? And so tell me, what was the most perverted trick you ever had to perform? Oy, oy, oy. So I get into the boss's office on Monday. So the cricketing dinner went off okay. Monday morning, get in to see the boss, and the boss goes, right, we need to have a chat, don't we? And I was like, boss, it was just in the moment, and, well, the figures are going to be fabulous. The listenership's going to go through the roof, which it did. Because quarter four is the most, that's where you, for the whole year. So if you divide January to December, quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4, and quarter 4 is your Christmas shopping, it's your advertising, and if you have a great quarter 4, you make tons of money in commercial radio. And he said, well, I'm going to have to suspend you pending an investigation. I said, you're not involving the police, are you? He said, no, we just need an internal investigation. And have you seen the newspapers this morning? I was like, no. What would I want to... Well, I'd read them this afternoon if I was going to do the phone-in. And he said, well, I suggest you don't. Why? Just don't, Adrian. I'm just, I'm trying to protect you. Just don't. But you're suspended. Come back to my office Wednesday afternoon, pending the investigation. So I was like, all right, boss, all right. So anyway, the first thing I did was, next door to the radio station was a pub, went in there, woof. Next door to that was a paper shop, went in. Oh, no. Mr. Smut on the radio was the Sun's headline. I can't remember what the Daily Mirror's was, but it wasn't going well that Monday. It wasn't a good day at the office. So I went home and I said to my girlfriend at the time, I said, I think I'm in the doo-doo. I think I'm proper in the doo-doo. And on the Wednesday, I was driving, because it was everywhere. It literally was, all the local newspapers had it, all the nationals had it, apart from the broadsheets. Can you imagine? Mr. Smat on the radio in the Times. Does one take the Times? I think I'm about to, if the boss bends me over the desk. So I was driving down, and I was driving down to the radio station rather quickly. And I got stopped with a cop with a gun, as in a speed gun. And I just said to him, I said, look, mate, I might have been going a bit quick, but just, this is who I am. It's all over the car. My name is all over the car. It was one of those liveried freebie things. And, Retro, you're in the middle of my favourite story, man. Anyway, I'll tell you more of it later. And he said, yeah, I've got you going a bit quick. I said, well, that's who I am. That's the radio station that I work for. I told him the story about the call on the Friday night. And I said, I'm going down to see my boss, and there's a pretty good chance that he's going to sack me on the spot. Oh, he says. So I never got the ticket. That's proper policing. So, because it wasn't going to benefit anybody. So I goes down, and I'm there with the boss, and the guy from the Friday night that came in the studio with his little concubine who he was making some noise with. He was sitting on his left hand, my right, and then there was another guy who now works at Radio 2. I'm not going to tell you his name. And he was sitting on the other side. So they sat there, the three of them, played the audio tape. And as the tape was playing, I was thinking, this doesn't sound very good. This is, did I say that? God blood, what, did she say that? Oh, how did you let that, Adrian? Oh, it was late. It was, it was after midnight, been a long day. I was tired and emotional. And the boss said, did you say that, Adrian? I said, well, obviously I did. You've got me recorded saying it. And they said, so, did you, hang on. Oh, thank you, Sarah Jane. She says, and here you are still saying the quiet bits out loud. Keep speaking truth to power, Adrian. Freedom! So he said to me, did you say that? I said, well, look, Brian, you've got me saying that on tape. How can I deny it? And he said, and did you say this? And did you say this? And he's got a transcript of the whole thing. And I was like, yeah. Look, Brian, why don't we just cut to the chase? You know what I said. I was trying to bring figures in. I was trying to bring listeners in. And you know what I said. So you do what you need to do. And he said, right, you're sacked. And it was my first radio station. I'd been there 5 years. And literally, my stomach exited my derriere. And I just came out, and my two mates that were either side of them, they were inconsolable. And I'm still friends with them to this day, and Brian for that matter. But at the time, it was singularly one of the worst things I went through. But that piece of shit that tried to get my show, wanted to be the star of the radio station, never had the talent that I had. And I'm not going to name names, don't need to. Because I can look back at it now and laugh my cap off, literally burst my incontinence pants. Incompetence pants, Adrian. My incontinence pants. Because it's just one of those things that, I may tell at a cocktail party. It's one of those stories that you tell. Nicholas, I was involved with the biggest waste of money ever. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm aware of that, Nicholas. Maybe we should talk about. I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly who you're talking about. And I was told similar stories. The eye-watering lunches afterwards. They thought they were the stars of the radio station. Some people are just right place, right time. Sometimes they didn't have enough talent to go on to stay. Wow, no, I can't really say that. One of them did, one of them didn't. One of them got lucky, right place, right time, and after they decided to move them, he didn't work in radio again. Both characters, but... So that was 1989. That was my first ever phone-in, and the figures were... Because it was 4:45, they suspended me on the Monday, they sacked me on the Wednesday. The person that wanted the show was presenting the show Monday to Thursday, and literally... They couldn't get a call on air other than, where's Adrian? What have you done with him? Where's Adrian? What have you done? Has he been sacked? Because they'd all been listening on Friday, couldn't believe what they heard. And then on the Monday night, I don't reappear. And they're like, aye, there's something kicking off. So, couldn't get any on air. And they were complaining. They went to the boss and said, do you know, boss, nobody's calling in about anything else other than Adrian. What do I do? Well, you just do the phone in. I can't, because they only want to talk about him. They want to know what's happened to him and where's he gone and has he been sacked? All the local newspapers were speculating about what was going on. All the local newspapers were like, oh, he's been sacked. And sure enough, they had to put a statement out. And I sort of agreed to the statement that they put out, saying Adrian's looking for other opportunities elsewhere. He's been sacked. What was he sacked for? Oh, because he asked some dirty bird how much she charged. And I never told that on YouTube before. And I have tried for the last 30 odd years to try and find a copy of that tape, just so I can have a refresh of what not to say, basically. But TFM was my first radio station. Radio T's into TFM. It was my first love. It was the real romantic time of commercial radio, and I could have stayed there for as long as I wanted. I could have been doing the late night phoning on Teesside as long as Alan Robson was doing the late night owls or on Metro in Newcastle. That's easy. Neil Cunningham. Who was the best boss you ever had? There have been some great bosses. There have been, and I maintain that a weak manager can't deal with talent. If somebody's been on air and then thought they were any good, and then they got to be boss, so they could boss people around, and they're weak. So all of the great phone-in characters, the great phone-in presenters, would just have them for mincemeat. I'll tell you a very quick story. And then I'll give you my 3 best, because they're all very, very close together. I've already mentioned one, but I'll mention a couple of others who are just magnificent. I love to bits, because if I'm getting up in their grill, they just go, here, Adrian, back off. What are you doing? Sit down and let's talk this through. And I've had some major bollockings in my time. But I've had some radio station bosses who would okay, can we have a chat, Adrian? Yeah, all right then. I'd go into their office. One at Hallam FM, they wanted me to do the dance show on a Saturday night, and he spent 2 hours telling me how good a dance DJ and presenter he was. And at the end, I just said, "Oh, look, Steve, mate, do you want me to present this or not? I've had to listen to you for 2 hours." "Oh, well, let me think about it." I said, "I'll tell you what, Steve, don't think about it. If I'm going to have to suffer what you've just done to me for 2 hours, where you haven't drawn breath and I've had to sit here and listen to your shit, I don't want to know. I'll be seeing you, mate." Some people might know who I'm talking about, but I'm not going to besmirch his name because he was a caring, understanding 90s type. And at one point lived near me. So my favourites, Brian Lister, without any shadow of a doubt, Brian Lister. I loved the bits. He taught me so much and gave me great opportunities. If Brian hadn't given me the opportunity to do the phone-in after Andy and Phil White and James Stanage, then I might not have gone down that route. In fact, I'm going to do 4. The other is a guy you will only know if you've been involved in Northeast Radio, a guy called John Kane, who, again, he one of the bosses above him came in one night and he went, "Here, Adrian's talking about growing carrots on the radio, on the phone-in. Do something." And John said to him, "I'm not doing anything with him. You just plug him in, plays, and he brings you massive audience." Now, my phone-in that he was complaining about had more listeners than all of the other late night shows on every single radio station at that day part and time in the Northeast. So he wasn't going to go, "Here, Adrian, stop talking about carrots, you mucky tart." The other is, again, now I have to remember that this is YouTube, so they may not want their names mentioning, so I apologise for that. But there is, so the two left are the only two people, with Caney, of course, the only two people that could tell me, "Wind your neck in," and I won't spark them out. Because, well, anyway, my dear friend Francis, who is a king amongst kings, he's just the most gifted, the most talented manager of people, and just knows how to run a radio station. In fact, he knows how to run a business, a radio station, anything he turns his hand to. And he's a very dear and close friend. He was at my marriage to the new Mrs. Allen because he's that close to me. And he's just insanely, awesomely talented. And the other one, have you heard of Boom Radio? A guy called David Lloyd, who was my managing director at Century 106. He was my managing director at LBC, latterly at the back end of it rather than at the front. And he now runs Boom Radio. And that's why he can get all of these mega talented people on that radio station. And that's why that radio station is sounding so good. Simply because he knows the industry. He knows what's what. So that I would say that they are, I've had some idiots, some proper grade A, golden plated idiots who think that they knew what they were talking about. One of them, "We're going to change the phone-in, Adrian." "What do you mean you're going to change the phone-in? It's the most listened to show on the station. Don't change. Oh, we're going to introduce music." "Oh, so it's not going to be a phone-in then?" "Well, yes, you'll do calls in between tunes." "So do you know what you're doing?" "How very dare you? We're going to make it like, have a listen to this radio station in America. We'll make it more like that." I said, "No, we won't." Walked out, live on air, played me theme tune. "I'm done, I'm finished, I'm off." And I walked out of the show, mid-show. But those men that I've mentioned, Francis and David and Brian and Caney, without doubt, I would work for them in a heartbeat. Again, I would work for them. I'm not sure they would want the amount of letters of complaint. Again, David used to say to me, "Adrian, Jesus, man, I come in at work, I spend half a day dealing with all your complaints, and then I can get on with my real work. So how's the figures doing, David? Oh, shut up. They're doing marvellously, don't you understand? I said, that's why you're getting the complaints. What do you mean? I said, because people like to complain about success. So just deal with them, David. And to be fair, he did. So what am I going to do with all this prep that I've done for tonight? You've just got me talking about naughtiness. You've just got me talking about best bosses. You just got me talking about... Right. We're going to do a couple of things, and I need you to stay here. Because as much as that was lovely, and, you know, I'll talk about any amount of radio, whenever you want, wherever you want. I need to talk about these little bits. These are the pieces of the jigsaw. And I've said to you on other lives that I want to give you just pieces of jigsaw. I'm not telling you what to think. I'm not telling you where to go and what research to do. That's down to you. But I always want to give you a bit of the jigsaw. So you can either see something coming, or you can see something coming. Now, on the last live, I told you that Australia had ratified a new law, and it had gone through their Senate. And the new law is around digital ID. Now, so long as I can find my notes, there it is there. We'll start with Rich Boy. We'll kind of go through Rich Boy, if you know what I mean. Do I know Tony Prince? Oh, yes. Of course I do. Did you know Tony Prince from Radio Luxembourg, I think? Yes, he was the royal ruler on Luxembourg. I've known Tony for 40 years. And there was other people from Radio Luxembourg that I knew. I sort of thought about working there, but it was going out to Luxembourg that was a bit of a kicker. I might have struggled with that. But Tony Prince did Disco Mix Club, DMC, and I was kind of one of the mainstays in the Northeast, and because I had a radio show, he would send me tapes of the DMC mixing convention and the artists, James Brown, Janet Jackson, all the big names that used to come to the Royal Albert Hall. I knew Tony's wife as well, and a very, very, very dear friend called John. And I'm not kind of giving you the second names just because I'm not sure whether they would want it broadcast on YouTube. But, I remember. No, I can't. I might get arrested for that one. So let me get into the important stuff just for 10 minutes or so. Just stay with me because I want you to understand this. I want you to get context around this because this, without doubt, is coming. Can we get away from it? Yes, you can. It depends who you vote for. Now, Rich Boy, you know how every time he opens his gob, he goes, "Hey, we're stopping the boats. We're stopping the boats. We're stopping the boats." And then nothing happens. Nothing. That's politics. He says one thing and does the other. Except Lord Bumbling in the Daily Mail today. David Blunkett, you might know him as. Lord Blunkett says in today's Daily Mail, if Britain had brought in identity cards, illegal immigration would be a fraction of today's level. It's not too late to revive them and stop the boats. Do you understand that? It's clown world. And the clowns are taking the absolute proverbial. So what they're doing is they are making you feel pain until you beg them to stop. And I noticed 25 people, unless it's YouTube playing about, 25 people have switched off. These are the idiots. When I say to you, I agree with you, Alan, Blunkett's dog's fart's more appealing. When I tell you that this is important, that's why we're in the shitstorm that we are. So now you've got Lord Blunkett, who's not going to want for a penny or three, telling you and I, you should have had identity cards when Blair was talking about identity cards 30 years ago. Australia now has a law that's gone through their Senate to say that every Australian has to have a digital ID. Now, if you look at China, they've got digital ID. You can't travel unless they say so, unless the Chinese Communist Party, if you're buying the right things and saying the right things and kowtowing to the right people, then you can travel. Maybe. That's what's coming. Oh, you want a holiday in the summer? Ain't gonna happen. You want to travel for business? You better start talking the language that the British Communist Party, Labour, want you to say. So if you're not on the right page and the groupthink is not your thinking, you're going nowhere. You're not leaving this sceptred isle, even for holiday, not even for business. So Australia have passed their law. Have a guess who's ruling Australia? Their version of the Labour Party. So Lord Blunkett in the Daily Mail. So that's a right-wing rag. Lord Blunkett, Labour Party doyen, left-wing politician, left-wing lord in a right-wing rag saying, you are going to have digital ID, mate. You should have had identity cards when we wanted to bring them out in the late 90s. So, as far as Lord Blunkett is concerned, go back to sleep. We're ahead of the game. The critical thinkers that watch this channel are already aware of what you're trying to do. So now you've got Ursula von der Leyen in WEF in January in Davos saying, we need to get them to trust us. Next 2 years, we've got to get them to trust us. And now we've got Charles Linton, probably somewhere in the Middle East, pocketing money, trousering, goodness knows. Don't do it in the Middle East. You get caught doing that, you get stoned to death. Tony Blair's trying to get back in. Because what do you get if you vote for Keir Starmer? You get New Labour. You get Tony Blair. You get Peter Mandelson. You get Gordon Brown. Mark my words. They're already propping their heads up thinking, ooh, how can we dance again, darling? The Tory party's been in power for 13, 14 years. Oh, let's start and do the light fandango again. Except this time, the shaft in you. So as I keep saying to you, every time I mention his name, is Keir Starmer scaring you yet? Because this is coming. Blair, he had one job when he was Prime Minister, and that was to get us into Europe and make sure we couldn't get out. Treaty of Nice, anyone? You can go to the Treaty of Rome, Treatise of Rome, or Treatise of Nice. Him and Robin Cook, their job was to make sure you didn't do what you did in 2016 under the Tories. So I am letting you know. David Blunkett, if you can catch a copy of the Daily Mail today saying you should have had identity cards, well, if you get Keir Starmer, and they've got such a massive majority because the Tories have mucked it up so massively, you're also going to get Tony Blair, who was already calling for digital ID. Australia's got it. We're going to be about 18 months, 2 years behind that game. Let them get in first, and then let them bend you over slowly. Because if you don't think they're going to shaft you, go and give your head a wobble. Let me tell you how power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Now, some of this you might think, oh, Adrian, I'm a bit tired of it. My head's full. We've had 4 years since March 2020. How can you expect me to concentrate on this kind of stuff now? It hurts my head. Well, Volodymyr Zelensky. He's on marching powder. I've seen the videos. Oh, have you seen his dancing? That's not manly. Anyway, do you know that Volodymyr Zelensky has lowered the draft age in Ukraine from 27 to 25? I've already told you, they've lost 500,000. 500,000 fighting men, Ukrainian fighting men. 500,000 dead. And that's why the West is saying to Zelensky, you need a broker for peace, mate. He's dropped the draft age 27 to 25, which will give him another 500,000 fighting men, another 500,000. Meanwhile, and you haven't heard this, but it may just pitch up in the press tomorrow, because whenever we do these lives, invariably, we are switched on enough to kind of get the important stuff. And then the day after, it's all over the press. No. Who said that? Lee Jones says, apparently Zelensky has bought Highgrove House for 20 million nigger. Is Charlie flogging it off? Really? And there's Sarah Jane saying BlackRock got the deal to rebuild Ukraine. Another AJ prediction come to pass. Well, we all know that because that's what they did in Iraq, in Iran. Although it was George W. Bush's deputy. I can see him, but I can't think of his name for some inexplicable reason. So that's the game. That's the game. You get double bubble. You pump all the money into a theatre of war. And then when it's over, you just say, we'll come in and rebuild it for you. So they rebuilt Iraq, some of Afghanistan, but that's how they make their money. So they're going to rebuild Gaza. The Americans absolutely have got a deal with Israel. So Benjamin Netanyahu wanted $110 billion from the Americans. And the Americans are going to go, yes, of course, Bibi, you can have $110 billion of the American taxpayers' money, so long as you let us rebuild Gaza. Oh, and did we say, can we get the oil and the gas out of the ground in Gaza? Bibi, thank you very much. Let's sign the loan deal here. And already the Americans are building a port in Gaza. Oh, it's for aid. Yes, of course, it's a temporary port for aid. They think we're stupid. For aid? My hairy backside. The Americans want the oil, as do the Israelis, to be fair. But the Americans have got a tight squeeze on the budget, so they will get all the oil and gas, or some of it, out of the ground on behalf of the Israelis, and they'll both take a cut. So, as Sarah Jane says, BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, they're all at it. They're all... today in the newspapers, we're talking about all these billionaires. Multi-billionaires. 141 billionaires have been made worldwide in America in the last 12 months. 141 new billionaires? Where's that come from then? It's not the Biden OCG, is it? So, America, this is what I was going to tell you, because America is leading the game. America has reportedly called in retired military officers for service. Now, why would they do that? Because America doesn't like a war on its own doorstep. It'd rather it happened in Europe or the Middle East or anywhere else except on its own streets. So why would they call in retired military officers for service? Only if something's going to happen that we're not aware of. Is it civil war? Are they going to stop Trump? Because American politics are all corrupted. As I say, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. It's corrupt America. But the other thing is, as Sarah Jane mentioned, NATO is working on a Trump 5-year deal. A Trump-proof 5-year deal. Obviously, so they can launder more money through Ukraine, and Trump can't stop it. I've said this fact, and I've used it for, blimey, 30 years or so, that 60% of America's GDP are arms or armaments related. And if America is to prosper, they need to go to war, or they need to supply all the stuff for war. the arms and the armaments, everything related. So Vanguard and State Street and BlackRock and all of these humongously large shareholders and company owners, because they own 80 odd percent of the America 500. And NATO has to expand so that they can supply these big multinational companies or the military industrial complex, if you wish. They have to keep supplying them with new deals. So the US military contractors are the preferred suppliers for NATO, which is why NATO needs to keep expanding so that these companies can make money. So that's why Putin is kicking off. He wants energy independence via the Black Sea. He wants the oil and the gas from under the Black Sea. Energy independence. Yeah, 140 new billionaires this year. Thank you, Alan. Including Taylor Swift. Now, if you don't believe that she's a psyop, let me give you this one piece of information. George Soros bought her back catalogue. And remember when she was kicking off, saying, I don't want it to go to so-and-so, and I don't want to, and they're taking my back catalogue, they're taking my art. George Soros. Exactly, Nicholas. She does as she's told, but she has earned a lot of money. And, I mean, so here's another take that you can, look, I can give it to you and you can use it for whatever way that you wish. But you and I both know that Britain's a cesspit. It is. Sad to say. We're getting companies, the corporation classes, the companies, removing the cross of St. George from our football strips. I don't know about you, but that makes me apoplectic with rage. How very dare they? And now, Adidas are mucking about with our GB athletics team and going, oh, they'll be wearing red, white and blue somehow. They're wearing pink and purple. No. Leave that. Get her alone. So, what they have to do is the Labour Party, it's two things. One, digital ID. You're getting it. Don't argue. Do as you're told. You're getting it. And the digital ID before you start your funny gags. But they want us back in something really weird's just happened. This broadcast, please, just in the chat, just tell me if this live hasn't started again and you are hearing me say this is live. Tell me if you've just heard that. Wow, that is really weird. Okay. Because I'm watching the beginning of the live coming back to me on the screen. There's something really weird going on tonight. Ghosts in the machine, ghosts in the room. Anyway, so two things. Digital ID, you're getting it. They're going to control you. They're going to have you by the sphericals and you will do as you are told. Unless it's anarchy! The other thing is they want us back in Europe. And do you know how they're going to do that? They're going to make us vote the right way. How on earth are they going to get us reintegrated back into the European superstate that's corrupt? I mean, it's more corrupt than the Conservative Party. So Keir Starmer only has 2 jobs. Once he's got the digital ID in 18 months, and the premise that they will give you is that it will stop the boats. Digital ID will stop the boats. You know who's got the contract for digital ID, don't you? Infosys. You know who Infosys are, don't you? Rich boy Sunk's family. Yeah. Neptune Gamer, Ireland needed telling thrice, but they did as they were told in the end. And we're getting to the point where, look, we'll stop the boats. We'll give everybody digital ID. So anybody in the country without digital ID won't be able to buy stuff, go places, stay places. And then what they'll do is, when the boats come across, they'll give them it for free. Free phones, free hotels, and free digital IDs. Look, if Muslims can then say, oh, I'm Christian, yeah, I'm Christian, me, Christian, and then attacks somebody with a corrosive substance and then gets buried as a Muslim. Can somebody, honestly, I am not the brightest person on this planet, and that really messed with my noodle, but how can you convert to Christianity and then be buried a Muslim in a mosque? I mean, it's not even funny. Keir Starmer, is he scaring you yet? So Keir Starmer's going to give you Tony Blair, Gordon Brown, Peter Mandelson. He's going to tell you that you're having digital ID just to stop the boats and all the illegal immigrants. Well, actually, he's not going to say this, but how's it going to stop them? And the other thing is, they're going to scare you so much that you will vote to go back into Europe. That's the only job that Keir Starmer and his band of clowns have got for the next 4 years, because that will take us up to 2028, and they want all of this sorted by 2030. Alan, you will. Look, without levelling any accusations at anyone, in March 2020, everybody was told, have the jab, have the jab, have the jibber jabber, have the jibber jabber, have the jibber jabber. And a huge amount of people did, because they thought it was the right thing to do. And now they find out 4 years later, myocarditis, pericarditis, turbo cancers. And there's Pfizer have bought a company, a Canadian company, that deals with turbo cancers, has the answer, because Pfizer saw a business opportunity and its classic sales technique. They inject you with a poison and then give you the antidote. That's what is going on. And they'll do exactly the same with digital ID, exactly the same with getting you back into Europe. You absolutely better vote for us to be reintegrated into Europe. They'll tell you. Why do you think all this stuff is going on? Because it's Project Fear. They want you to fear. Now, I was going to talk about April 8th on Monday, because you know they've got this solar eclipse going across America in the wrong direction for a solar eclipse. And you've got 8 or 9 states in America who are announcing states of emergency. Why would they do that? What, it's going to rain a bit? Or the winds are up? Some of the states, the governors are not actually giving anybody an answer as to why they've announced a state of emergency. What is coming up on Monday? I say this facetiously, but it wouldn't surprise me. Aliens, anyone? Or is it a Donald Trump assassination? Because if they do that, and look, they've assassinated presidents previously. Can you imagine what will happen on the streets of America? It will burn. Because people will lose their minds. Why are they bringing back retired military people? Why are they declaring states of emergency on a Wednesday? And I keep telling you, and I don't want to be right. I don't. I want to live in a great Britain. I want to live with everyone in a peaceable, law-abiding, well-organised society. I don't want all of this knife crime in London, or, I mean, there's still today people being stabbed left, right and centre. I don't want that for us. America leads the West, whether we like it or not. And also, I don't want you to be fearful because we will band together. We will band together. I've seen Star Trek. I've seen the Westerns where we all get together and we fight the evil, we fight the oppressor, we fight the aliens, and we win. I mean, look at Tom Cruise, War of the Worlds. We didn't lose. Let me get rid of that. So, what is the purpose of me telling you all of this? I want you to be awake. I want you to be awake, aware, and ready. How you prepare yourself is for you. We are the Battenberg posse. Baby, baby, baby. And some of the things that I've given you, now there's some stuff that I've given you in the last couple of weeks. You won't until something happens in a couple of months. You'll go, oh, he told us. Was he psychic? Adrian, give me the lottery numbers. I wish. Be a multi-billionaire. Either that. Call myself Taylor Swift. Smack my ass and give me a guitar. I'm going to read this. It's from a gentleman called Terry. I'm not going to say any more than that, but I will tell you this. This boy knows. Hi, Adrian. Remember when the US had identified Osama bin Laden as being who they wanted for the 9/11 attack? They asked the Taliban to hand him over. The Taliban refused. So America had the legal reasoning, casus belli, to declare war on Afghanistan and invade. The head of the Ukraine, SBU, Vasil Malyuk, has pretty much admitted Ukraine committed terrorist attacks within Russia, namely the murder of Daria Dugina in Moscow, the bombing of the Kerch Bridge, admitted in December 2023 by him, and other attacks over the last couple of years that are classed as terrorism. The West naturally are saying that Ukraine and Malyuk had no involvement in the Crocus City Hall terror attack. Naturally, without mentioning Malyuk, pretty much admitted involvement in other attacks within Russia. The West don't have any sort of evidence to prove non-involvement, whereas the Russian have 4 terrorists and 11 people who acted as a support network. Who are we going to believe? So, Russia wants him and others extradited to stand trial for terrorism. Ukraine refuses to hand him over. Russia, following the precedent set by the US in 2001-2002, can gear up their special military operation to a full-scale war. Legally, under international law. And as a little aside, on the home front, expect to hear more about this lady, Anam Quasar, MP and the SNP representative for Levelling Up. Now the word is, and I can't read any more out, but I will tell you this. Just watch out for the name, Anam Quasar. Thank you, Terry. Enlightening as ever. I do have a whole load of comments, which I can keep going, to be fair, because Right, let me rattle through these. From the Hugh Edwards, the latest news video. Tom Murray says, Adrian, I don't think there should be any way back for Hugh, in my opinion. They should sack him. £438,000 a year. It's going to be 2 years' wages by the time they decide what they're going to do with him. Oh, nearly £1 million for sitting on your backside at home. That's what he got into trouble for, wasn't he? Another sale. Adrian, 6,150 TV licence payers paying for Hugh sitting at home for 2 years. What a crock. Christina, Fiona Bruce is on that level of pay too. But I think they decide that Hugh is a news reader. And I think maybe Fiona is a news presenter. Oh, I know it's splitting hairs, but that's how they divide things in the BBC. Thank you, Christina. Lee Enfield, glad he's not getting my money. Thank you, Lee. Dale Steele, good to see you in the body of the Kirk tonight, Dale. Adrian, ignore the lefty comments. Most of them are bots. Yeah, we've worked that out tonight. Can't tell you how. Thank you, Dale, as ever. Ken Wright, when Harry was filmed seated firing the heavy machine gun in Afghanistan, serving squaddies helpfully pointed out that an officer wouldn't be doing that in action. Agreed, Ken. Oh, bless him. He was probably on the PlayStation 5. Steve Brown, I read somewhere yesterday that Harry and Meghan were going to be known as the Duke and Duchess of Hollywood. I didn't hear anything more about it and realised later in the day that it was an April Fool's joke. The thing is, though, you wouldn't put it past them. I know, Steve. Have you been following this? It's just BS. So Harry is upset. You know, privileged Harry is upset because he was going to come across for an Invictus 10th anniversary event at St. Paul's Cathedral. Now, it's not going to take Einstein to work out that if it's the 10th anniversary, Ginger Sphericals is going to be there. So we have the time and the date. And Ginger Sphericals saying, lads, what? You can't do that, man. It's a security risk. Hang on a second. He's the one that told everybody that the Taliban were just chess pieces on a chessboard. He was the one in his autobiography, Spare, in his book Spare, that he had ghostwritten, he'd killed 25 Taliban. So this boy isn't the brightest button on any army blazer. And now he's turning round and says, oh, you can't do that, man. And now he's saying, oh, I might not go. Well, don't then. We don't care, mate. Look at the state of your bloody hair. That's the best you've got. Here, just shave it off. Wow. Shredded wheat. Ginger shredded wheat, for God's sake. We know he's vain. We know he's privileged. But we know he's under her thumb or her very pointy high heels. One of the two. She the dom and him the sub. You didn't see me lips move. There are names for men like that. Lydia Orrick. They want IPP status. Thank you, Lydia. Yeah, because then the nanny, whoever that may be, won't have her bags checked as she goes through customs. Wonder why that is. They think we're stupid, man. Ruth Delapina. Adrian, always great to listen to you. Oh, thank you, Ruth. Really appreciate it. Nico Toscani. When Belfield gets out, he's going to want a word with you, Adrian. Oh, I think, Nico, he won't. He won't. Because remember, if he puts 1 foot out of place, he's back in for another 3 years. And I can guarantee you, he definitely does not want that. Anybody picking up the phone to the police for any reason, and he's implicated, he spends another 3 years in jail. And I wouldn't want that for him. Penny Hen. Oh, sorry. Frida Hallworth. Chemotherapy. This is talking about the Kate video that I did. And Frida says, chemotherapy can have a cumulative effect. It gets worse as you go on. I agree. My mum had cancer, so I know. But thank you, Frida. Penny Hen, I thought exactly the same, Adrian. Thank you, Penny. Lynn Clarkson, you're correct in saying Kate Garraway needs to grieve, but I don't think people heal. My mum passed away 7 years ago this month in 2017. I was her only child. I lost my twin brother at birth. I never married or met the right man, so I am alone and it's hard. I have never got over my mum passing, and life will never be the same again. My father passed away in Easter 2007. It's a weird feeling being an orphan. But without being insensitive, it is the natural way. Parents are meant to go before the kids. Phil Gray, Adrian, I thought the Trans Day of Visibility was an April Fool's joke, but apparently not. And on an Easter day, WTF, Joe Biden, the wrong-un-in-chief. Well, you know that Joe announces it, as in President OCG Biden, and he comes out the next day and goes, I didn't say that. And they've got that man in charge of the nuclear button. He couldn't remember what he said the day before. He's the leader of the Western world, I'm telling you. Barack Obama is sitting there in his sweats, playing on his controller like it's a PlayStation 5 game. That's what he wants to do. He's president by remote. Lee Enfield says, Adrian, this is about April 8th, next Monday. Solar flares going to wipe out all our electronics was another scare alert. I know that everything, daily is, we're going to scare you, we're going to scare you, we're going to scare you. Echo Bunny Woman, Adrian, all pictures and videos are fake. So let's ask again, where is Kate? Now remember, back in January, because there's a couple of comments that I really want to tackle here. Because not Echo's Bunny Woman, but there was, let me explain. So back in January, we were told Catherine, Princess of Wales, is going to have an abdominal surgery and won't be back until Easter, meaning Easter weekend, the Windsor March, if you wish, down to the local Windsor Chapel so they could have a service. She was going to be there. And then we had all that furore that they had to dampen down, where it was fake videos and fake pictures and fake everything, because we got it. You can't do that kind of thing now because we have the technology. So seemingly, she's at Anma Hall and not resurfacing until April 27th. So she gets 5 weeks off for Easter. What a slagger. It would be lovely if me and you could have 5 weeks off at Easter. Mind you, she's so thin, I bet she doesn't have many Easter eggs. In fact, after having a hysterectomy, she's got no Easter eggs. Lolly says, I find it strange it took months to find her situation. She would have had tons of tests in January. It would have been found then, and secondary tests don't normally happen. Sorry, just my point of view, folks. Not a problem, Lolly. Thank you for making the comment. I will say this. We were told it was abdominal surgery. And then from the little bits that we've had, we understand that when they went in and when they took whatever they took out, they found cancerous cells. She didn't have cancer. She didn't have a tumour. She had cancerous cells within what was taken out. Now, she's being given chemotherapy as a precaution, not as a treatment, but as a precaution. And people have been commenting on some of the videos that I've done that, honestly, they haven't got 2 IQ points to rub together. At which point has Catherine, Princess of Wales, said, I've got cancer? Because she said, I'm being treated and chemotherapy as a precaution. Mind you, O'Rourke says, someone told me Unai Emery was going to be the next Liverpool manager. I nearly pooped my underwear. Well, you never know. Susan Rudge, Adrian, have you discussed the death of Princess Diana yet? I'm catching up on all your lives. Blimey, Susan, that's a mammoth task. No, I haven't yet. Although I did speak to one of the team today who was like, Adrian, are you going to get this Princess Diana video done? You'll just have to bear with me, Susan. Life is very busy. I did a What the Foxtrot video, and Eileen Bilson said, Happy Easter, Adrian. Thank you, Eileen. Happy Easter to you too, retrospectively, or you can have it for next year and get in early. Sharon Ray says, 100% it's Easter. It's not now, Sharon, but thank you for the sentiments. Karen Bow, oh, Adrian, in your DJ and bow tie. You can see me walking across the screen now. Bond. James Bond. Nah, more Brooke Bond. But thank you to everybody who laughed. Ross James says, Happy Easter, Mr. and Mrs. Allen. I won't be able to tune in tonight. Early night for me. For an early start in the morning. We'll catch up on the drive into work and home again. Brilliant, Ross. Hope you enjoyed it. Chris Hazelhurst. Evening, Adrian. Evening, Chris. Rusty Mouse. Oh, the Rev and a bow tie. Aid is coming up in the world. I was in court the next morning. I'm joking. Retro on his bikes. Happy Gesture Day, everyone. Brilliant. My word, Adrian. Very posh with the DJ and bow tie. Do love a suit. And Retro and I are going to talk tomorrow. The result of which you will see soon. Jim Atkinson. Oh, looking dapper, Adrian. GB Patriot. Oh, Len Ganley. More like Battenberg Bill Werbenyuk, the Canadian. Oh, he loved to slurp the old Bill, didn't he? What was it, 100 odd pints or something? Brilliant. He should have come to the Northeast. 4 pints an hour, every hour. Can you, I said this on the other live, half man, half biscuit, doing the Len Ganley stance. What a tune that was. To Vix Tex, Happy Easter, y'all. Vix Tex, I'm so sorry, 3 days late, but still wanted to acknowledge it. Paul Durkee, I have to admit, Adrian, I never caught any of your late night radio output. Don't be too harsh. Circumstances. I get it, Paul, don't worry. I remember back in the day listening to Tommy Boyd, I think it was, and he showed The Human Zoo. That was a bit different. I imagine your show was in a similar vein. Best wishes from Wales. Depends where you are, Paul. I was in South Wales for 2 years, 2000 and 2002. Had the best time. Anne-Marie Steele. Happy Easter, Adrian, to yourself and the new Mrs. Allen. Keep up the fabulous work. Love listening to you from Annie, the florist in Belfast. Annie, the florist in Belfast. Love having you here. Anne-Marie Steele, hope you managed to hear your share and hope you are doing well, Annie. Technical 100. No Cadbury, no Nike, no Coke, no woke. I'm saving a fortune. Happy Easter. You grumpy tart. And on the video, for If You Tolerate This, Lee Enfield again. Always will remember TB starting the first broadcast on Radio 1 back in the 60s. Tony Blackburn. My TV. Hopefully, the BBC won't cut down on management's benefits. Oh. Doesn't matter how many they sack, the management always stay. Robert Francis. Adrian. BBC radio disc jockeys. Oh, why, oh, why, oh, why? Can they not play proper records like Barbara Cartland sings? Oh, I've heard a bit of that. Oh, she was always in pink, wasn't she? And talking about Princess Diana. Roddy Llewellyn's album. He also wrote the lyrics too, such as, Wherever we go, we are on the same plateau. Not Led Zeppelin, is it? Instant Party, Out of Order Records. No, not at my house. Don't know about yours, Robert. Moira Crawford, I am going to spoil my ballot. This is when we eventually get to a general election. I'm going to spoil my ballot with I do not consent. I've heard that about you, Moira. To being governed. Oh, sorry. Roughly 60% of electorate don't show or bother, which is tacit agreement. If most people turned up and spoiled their votes, they could change the course of politics in this country and give us a better place to live, to be fair, Moira. Robert Francis again. Now, the fourth UK terror campaign incident since 7th of October 23, with gang attack stabbing of Iran regime critical journalist on UK soil. Pouria Zarati, I think, in London. Aren't they reporting in the newspapers today that the perpetrators got out of the UK within hours of the stabbing? I said before that MI5 were obstinate and not that good, as after 7th of October attack, the alert level needed to be raised. I also told them to be more aware. This is second Iran-UK related incident. Yes, they can be like this, and black swan type of events can sort of be prevented with very good intel. They would have sort of been aware he was a high value message target. Not quite Salman Rushdie, although I saw something about Salman Rushdie in the papers again today. He's up to something. Oh, he's some boy. They probably did not even mention preventative situational awareness to him. Why is it a gang attack outside his home address? They could have been picked up with knives. Good example, Blue Gang film premiere post-coding rivalry means they go with weapons to cinema on opening day. With post-coding gang activity on your patch, you arrest them breaking up county lines. County lines, gangs. Thank you, Robert. Dave Richardson, Adrian, I love your videos and your live shows. You are a very talented and funny man. 5 is in the post, Dave. When I saw this thumbnail, I thought, oh, that was the Kate Garraway porn shot. I thought, poor old Kate must be hard up. She's doing porn films now. Keep up the great work, Adrian. You do entertain us, mere mortals. We're all the same, Dave, except Kate Garraway, of course. She's much richer than you and I. Stephen Hall, I remember Tony Blackburn on the Radio 1 breakfast show back in the early 70s when I was still at school. I think Tony on Radio 1 and Terry Wogan on Radio 2 gave us the best BBC breakfast shows ever. I remember Dave Lee Travis on the breakfast show when I started listening. Tony Blackburn in the afternoon and then playing all those miserable, depressing records when Tessa Wyatt left him. Just like us all, just trying to get through his days. Annie Watt, this is a great comment. Adrian, you've warned us, but what is the most effective thing we can do? I love your channel, from Annie Watt. P.S. I can't change my joke name on here, which was part of the email address I used years ago. So I can't remember it. It was always Annie Watt before, but YouTube have done something and I can't change it back. It's still Annie Watt on live comments though. Any help, greatly appreciated. Anybody know? Anybody be able to help Annie? Plus, it's not even my email address anymore. P.S. I'm a technophobe. Surprise, surprise. Annie will get it sorted for you, don't worry. Albert Tatlock, you know, the grumpy one from Coronation Street. I thought he was dead. The BBC should be abolished. It's a gravy train for loads of upper-class champagne socialists. I agree with you, especially that one that said to me, oh, so which school did you go to? I barely did the last year of school. I was always on report, sir. Joanne Taylor, don't pay my TV license. I haven't done for years. Don't watch TV. It's full of crap. Tell her like it is, Joanne. Tile Block Tracy, BBC will not change the model until at least 2028. Then it will adopt a Netflix Prime model. Tony Blackburn, gone. The video. Clive Charlton, get rid of the chewing gum. It's not pleasant. Otherwise, it's not a bad video. Clive, you're so kind. All the world's a critic. The reason why I had the chewing gum in was to stop me from coughing. When I was chewing and talking, it stopped me from coughing. And now the cough's going. I'm sure there's a cough gag in there somewhere, but I'm not quick enough tonight. I'm getting tired. Paul Durkee, I thought Question of Sport had been dropped because audience figures had plummeted. No, it's just the BBC being tarts, man. The BBC, oh no, they'll come up with some spurious reason. And sometimes they'll promote somebody so that they get into that position and they go to that somebody ear. Just get rid of Question of Sport. So that poor idiot then gets rid of Question of Sport and then they're like, oh, we're just going to let you go. So they don't have blood on their hands. They pick a victim and the victim gets it. Graham 1281. Clickbait. Now, I thought about this comment and I thought about going full-blown ranty rollicks. And then I thought, no, because every single video on YouTube or X or Instagram, every single video comment on social media is trying to get you to interact with it. And if I put a title up and you click on it, job done. That's the whole thing about social media. If you're new to the channel, I hope that you've maybe clicked on one of the videos that I've done and thought, oh, that's a bit interesting. I want to know more. Fatty Jammer. Adrian, we know she's not well. Are you crazy? No, Fatty Jammer. I just look at it and go, oof, you can tell that a mile off. Live 70, Bad Wolf Project, says Adrian, despite earning £650,000 annually and residing in a 1.9 million home while her children attend private school, this individual continues to portray herself as a victim and claim poverty. It highlights the permanence of social media content, even after deletion attempts. I think we've got somebody that's rather clever there. Talking about Kate Griftaway. And people are now in the newspapers going, oh, you know, I criticised Kate. I feel really rubbish about that. Don't! I've said to her, go grieve. Go heal. Take your time. That's what is needed. No, I've got no money. And I've said to you before, if I thought that I was $500,000 in the hole, I'd know exactly every single penny. But seemingly, it's somewhere between 500 and 800,000. And then in the Daily Mail, a couple of days after Derek carked it, it was, she's in debt to 1.5 million. Now, somebody, please, make your mind up. Because there's $1 million difference between 500,000 and $1.5 million. So what is it? At least she gave some Easter eggs out. Chris Blythe. Salesmen, solicitors, and businessmen all use the power of silence. He who speaks first loses. I get that, Chris. It's not done on the radio, though, because nobody's got the balls. And the Baltimore ship crash. Andy Zinski says, excellent chaps. I think Retro might still be in. Excellent chaps. Andy H says, really enjoyed the video and Retro's explanation of how things work and possible causes. It will be interesting to see the findings of the investigation. And we'll leave the last comment of the evening for the Cape Misery Garraway video. Jacqueline Bailey says, I'm sick of her right from the word go. How many people lost loved ones after being lied to by people like her? So you see, it's not just me. Well, there you go. That was different. Every time I start one of these, I think, well, I'll just do an hour. And then we just get chatting. So remember, I'm on X. I'd love you to join me on X. It is at Adrian Allen, as it says, Adrian Allen on here. That's how you spell it. At Adrian Allen on X. Almost 200 people currently live. So let's smash the likes if you could, please. Make sure you subscribe for more videos. There's lots coming. But most of all, thank you for your indulgence. I hope some of this has made sense to you this evening and you've enjoyed it in some parts. But whatever you do, and I have to explain this to Retro tomorrow, don't forget the Battenberg, you wrong'un.